This is the presentation about serial verb construction in Tangkhul language. This is the map and introduction about Northeast India and Tangkhul populated area. Tangkhul Naga has approximately 300,000 or more speakers in total. It has had the highest population in Ukru district of northeastern Manipur, and also it is the most powerful Naga group in Manipur. It is grouped in Southern Naga, rather political reason, but doesn't reflect linguistic facts. And it forms tantric cluster with Wipo and Marine, but I'm not so convinced about this theory. And it has lexical similarities with Manipuri and Kukichin. This is the phonemic inventory and orthography of Ukru standard variant. But in this presentation, phonology is not much important. And you can just see the transcription and understand what kind of sound is expressed in my presentation. And this is syllable structure and tones in Ukru standard variant. And the most important thing is it has three stable tones, namely high and mid and low. Stable, I mean, this is not changed or altered by Sandy phenomena. And low tone is rather rare to be heard. Actually, prefixes are mostly realized as low pitch, but not considered as bearing generic low tone. And this is the basic grammatical characteristic of Tangkhul language. And it has SOV word order, and it is highly agglutinative. That's genitive marker we, dative, accusative, locative markers are all the same, li, and instrumental ana and na. And a focus marker will also behaves like a case marker. And a benefactive we van and ablative we ana is also used. An instrumental na can mark agent, but the grammatical condition is unclear, often not obligatory and different from ordinary ergative marking. Maybe this is semantically oriented, like in Manipuri language. And verbs are not person marked, and verb includes the state verb, I mean, to be read or to be seen or to be told, like adjectival verbs and action verbs as well. But in this language, nominalized state verb works as adjective for modifying nouns as well. And verbal nominalizer ka changes its form according to the root initial consonant, whether it is voiced or unvoiced. And other nominalizers such as na or ma also follow the same alteration pattern. And for multiple serialized verbs, only the final p is nominalized with prefix ka or ka to form as a like total serialized verb noun. And double negative marking with ma for verb root and for the sentence final particle appears. And this is Tangkhul pronouns. Tangkhul pronouns has no gender, and dual and plural is based on the number 2 and 3. And this is the characteristics of serial verb construction in Tangkhul language, and it is also the conclusion of this presentation. There's no limit for combining verbs, and you can combine all these V1, V2, V3, endless, almost endlessly, and like V6 or V7, like 7 consecutive verbs are also found. But we cannot insert like object noun between V1 and V2, and serialized verbs never be separated by object in between serialized verbs. And V1, V2 can either be simultaneous or consecutive multiple actions, I mean timeline wise, depending on the choice of verbs. V1 can be method or means of implementing V2 as purpose, but state verb V2 is not the complement or resulting state of V1, and this is different from many languages in mainland Southeast Asia or Semitic languages. And if, as a result of V1, the state changed into V2, V3 khui is needed after V2. And if V1, V2 combination, V2 tends to have abstract or derivational meanings or grammaticalized auxiliary function. And in V1 position, it has original meanings. And when V1, V2, V3 is nominalized, Only the final verb has nominalizer prefix ka or ka, and other verbs are unchanged. Like if we have three verbs in series V1, V2, V3, verbal noun would be V1, V2, ka, V3. This is also mentioned in previous slides. So let's see examples. So this is the first example taken from Bible translation in Tangkhul language. Awi sa kangatubing na ali shuzata. In this example, V1 is shoot to follow and V2 is that to go. And V1 is understood as simultaneous action or manner of V2. Motion verb like come or go can appear both in V1 and V2 position in this language. If V1 and V2 are swapped, it is go to his place first and then follow. So this V1, V2 are understood as separated actions. And we see the noun disciples is actually made up from serialized verb, and V1 is sa to do and V2 is natu to serve, and these are nominalized and makes the noun disciple. And the second example is ibapama. I went and sat. I went to sit there. V1 is ba to go and V2 is pam to sit. And this is either simply go and sit as consecutive actions or go in order to sit as fulfilling purpose of sitting. The first interpretation, go and sit, is the same as I va laga pama, where V1 and V2 are separated by the conjunction laga. If V1 is pam, it is not understood as simultaneous manner of V2 va to go. So this swap to pamba is rarely used, at best understood as sit and the time passes by in the state of sitting, like that. Then how can we express go by crouching or go by squatting, like go in the state of or by means of sitting? The answer is here. Ipam mamambaya. I went by crouching or squatting. In this case, V1 is pam and V2 is ba, but this V1 and V2 are separated with mamang at the same time, and V1 functions as manner of V2 in this sentence. And another particle that also appears after mamang, ipam mamang devaya. And when the simultaneous actions are not common or hard to imagine with the combination of V1, V2, this mamang can connect V1, V2 as realized at the same time. This is another example of combining unexpected actions. Angani mamandazatale. And this is he or she waltzes his way, or she or he is going by spinning round. And in this case, V1 is going to spin, and V2 is that to go. V3 is they to be to exist. This is also used as have verbs. And V delay is for progressive. Direct serial verb construction V1, V2, and ninjata, I mean like without delay or mamanda, also exist but allows several interpretations, like she or he spinned and went, or she or he went in the manner of spinning. Mahun also exists for while, like mamang, but used for different agent or non-integrated event, especially when the action is discontinued halfway or left unfinished. Like when I was doing something, someone came in and my work is discontinued, like that. And the Tangkhul serial verb construction is not limited to those with motion verbs. And let's see other examples using khui. Kai kahai ham chi kuiraru. Bring that broken pot. This example is taken from Victor Ahm's grammar, published in 1997. And in this example, the English verb bring is analyzed into two verbs, namely V1 kui to take and V2 ra to come. And the first noun, kai kahai, broken, is also derived from the serial verb as V1 kai to destroy and V2 hai to put, but nominalized here and modifying ham pot as adjective. And chi after ham behaves like different article and takes case markings too. China karingwi taruchi ramen kuiranu. Let him or her come and drink the water of life. And this is also taken from the Bible translation, Revelation, and I omitted the unnecessary phrase. And V1 is ra to come, and V2 is mang to drink, and V3 khui, and ranu is for third person imperative or optative. The literal translation of drink and take doesn't make sense here because the water is consumed. It doesn't exist anymore, and so it is understood as take water by drinking as a manner of taking, or drink for the benefit of himself or herself. And here we see the combination V1 plus khui. Khui, to take, is the most polysemantic and one of the most frequent V2s to be in use in this language. V2 khui indicates, first, for the benefit, interest, own sake of the agent. I mean, do for himself or herself. And it also works as directional toward the speaker. And secondly, it works as perfective aspect. It's aspect marker as related to the completion of the process or reaching or switching into the fulfilled state of the action, and simply it is change of state aspect. And thirdly, it marks modality of managing to do the strenuous or painful work with exhaustion, and it also works as malefactive as contrasted to we to me to give. In the right side, we see some examples with combination of kui and nintan is to desire and nintan kui is to crave, as in, like showing strong interest or intense fire. Shy is to hear, and shaku is to hear, and catch was understand. And this shows the interest. And whom is to be read, and whomkui is to become read, and it's denotes the change of state. And t to be dead, and tiku is to become dead or to die. And it is also the change of state, and it is also understood as malefactive, and pi is to search for, and parku is to find, and it is explained as perfective of searching. And those nuances and functions are often overlapping one another. And I suppose there's some similarity with Kume Ban here. Ana rupa kui rakami ina iri chihokuya. By his or her bringing and giving money, she or he freed me. Or she or he brought the money as ransom, and I was freed. And in this case, V1 is kui to take, and V2 ra, and V3 is me, but V3 part is nominalized as kami. And another verb for like chihokuya, in this case, V1 is chiho, to free or to emancipate, and V2 is to kui, to take, kui, for change of state, to be emancipated and changed into the free state. And V3, me, to give, in the first example, can be understood both as literally giving and benefactive for the sake of me. Manipuri hi paisog ena matui teikuya. Manipuri language is easy to learn to speak. And in this case, V1 is matui, is to speak is the first verb, and V2 is take, to know, and V3 is kui, to take. And paiso cannot be directly combined with verbs like learn. In some languages in Southeast Asia or Sinitic spheres, there's some examples like easy learn, and it means like easy to run. But in this language, such combination doesn't exist. And V2, V3, teikui, to learn, is to know and obtain knowledge for the sake of the speaker, literally. And if V3 is changed into me instead of kui, V2, V3, teimi is to teach for someone. And there's another nominalized construction like manipuri, matui, take, kui, masak, namana. Learning to speak Manipuri is not difficult. It's also possible. But again, like the state verb to be difficult cannot be serialized with verbs like to learn. Ina ari suikuida ana ate lomia. I persuaded him or her into buying fruit for me. This is a case of persuasion, and V1 is sui, to talk or persuade itself, and V2 is kui, to take, and it works as perfective aspect of V1. And da, in this case, suikui da, can be considered as forming subordinate clause, like by my persuading, or because I persuaded him or her. And Anna's third person singular agent of the purchase of fruit is the same as the first Ali's it is the object of persuasion. And if Anna is omitted, I persuaded him or her and she or her agreed to my purchase of fruit is also the choice of interpretation because the verb is not indicated as like person marked and it can be understood as like first person agent. By persuading him or her, I bought fruit. In a hokji ngapit dara, I hit the pig and killed it. I struck the pig to kill it. And in this case, ngapit, to hit is the first verb, and the second verb is tat, to kill. I hit the pig dead literally does not correspond to this sentence. In many of Southeast Asian languages, I hit the pig dead or hit something dead construction is seen, but in this language it is different. And V1 ngapit is understood as the means of fulfilling V2. And state verb for to be dead, T also exists, but ngapit tia, hit it dead is impossible. And predicative V2 as state verb is not found in this language, so far at least. And ina hokji ngapit laga tikuya. I hit the pig and the pig turned dead. This sentence is correct because khui is added after t stated verb to be dead. And similarly, when V2 is kai to destroy, and ngapit kai is not strike it broken, but this is understood as destroyed by hitting. Like kai is means, no, ngapit is means of destroying. And kai is aspirated here. Piti quira, you're gonna die if you sleep. Don't sleep or you will die. This is a funny sentence and like in the snowy storm. And V1 is P to sleep, and V2 is T to be dead, and V3 is Q to take. And this V2, V3 part is to become dead. And V1 is the method or manner to lead into the result of V2, V3. And V2, T can be used figuratively as in EPTR, I slept too much or sleep like dead. And when V2 is state verb, V3 Q is needed for denoting the change of state, like to be dead. Verbal phrase like paint it red or change it tall are not expressed with serial verb construction with state verbs in this language, and they are rendered as paint red color or changed into being tall, like using nominalized forms. And this is not serial verb constructions in this language, unlike other many of Southeast Asian languages. Ateji Shaipaya. And this looks like an exception to my previous explanations. The fruit is tasty. So this V1 shy and V2 pa is combined together to make that it is tasty. And this example looks like V2 as predicate of V1. And tasty is actually analyzed into to be good by eating or eat and then it is good. So in this sentence, this object, fruit, is consumed and not remain after the act of eating, V1. And the V2 to be good is not the change of state of fruit itself, but another new result after eating. And so this is treated different from the V2 complement sentences like strike with dead or pointed red. So that's it. Thanks for watching this movie, and thanks all for my fellow Tangkhul friends.